Hello everyone, it's Jama Malmi. Welcome back to another scrapbook process video. Today's video is a collaboration with the creative design team. All week we have been showing ways to use your stamps. And specifically we're showing one stamp in 3 ways in each of our videos. You can check out all the videos at the playlist linked at the end of this video. So I am going to be working with the In Full Bloom Scrapbooking stamp. I love this stamp set, and there's a coordinating die. So everything you see shaded in this blue color has a matching die. So pretty much everything except for this little title. So here is what that looks like, and there are the dies. The dies from Close to My Heart already come on a magnetic sheet, and they come in with the stamp set in this handy little envelope, so they store nice and tidy. I've already chosen my base page and my photos. These photos are from Easter, and I will talk about those more in a little bit. There's a lot of pink in the photos, and so I was thinking of matting them on Ballerina, but I thought that kind of washed things out and made everything too pink. So I first decided to matte them in white, which is something I normally do, and then the light side of the light Ballerina cardstock. And then I was thinking I would arrange my photos kind of like this and have my 2 clusters in those corners that are naturally made with the photo placement. Then I decided to add a horizontal strip to anchor everything, and this is going to be the first way I'm going to stamp. So I'm laying down my all-purpose mat, and I love this mat because it's got silicone on the other side so it doesn't slide around, and that helps it lay really flat as well. And this is a great surface to work with water or anything that's messy because it cleans up quickly and easily. And I'm going to be working with Distress Oxide inks, and that's going to allow us to do a really cool water stamping technique. I decided to stick with just 2 colors. I'm using Chipped Sapphire and Stormy Sky, and those are going to blend nicely together, and they're going to add a darker color to help ground this layout. So I'm starting with the Chipped Sapphire, and then I'm going to go in with the Stormy Sky and blend equal parts. I'm trying to get an even 5 parts across this panel. So I'm going to do about the same amount again and then blend together, and then we're going to go back to the Chipped Sapphire and blend over, and we're really trying to create this nice blended look between the 2 colors, so you do have to go back and forth a few times. I'm working on White Daisy cardstock from Close to My Heart, and this does blend nicely on this paper. And I'm going in first, so you can see that last piece, the Chipped Sapphire, is not super blended, so I keep going over it in layers until it's nicely saturated. And I'll do this across the whole panel until it's complete. This is a long, skinny panel, so sometimes it gets awkward. You may want to hold a piece of paper underneath your fingers so you don't get inky. That's what I ended up doing. And then this leftover ink, I just sprayed a little water and picked it up with a scrap, and I can use this on something later. So I brought in my layout again to make sure I liked it, and I do. It's going to look more blended and kind of be covered anyway, so it looks a little funny being stripy right now, but it looks really good in the end. So now we're going to do our water stamping. So I have a dry paper towel to my left, and a little bit off camera I have a damp paper towel to my right. And then I sprayed some water on my all-purpose mat. I rubbed my stamp in the water to pick it up, and then tapped it off on some dry areas of my mat to get a little bit of the water off, and then stamp it onto my paper. This makes such a cool look, and it works best with the stamps that are not too solid, that don't have too much detail. So you'll see in a moment when I do one of the flowers that has a lot more detail and it doesn't show up as well. I did try stamping onto a baby wipe and then onto my paper. That wasn't wet enough. I also tried stamping on a baby wipe and a paper towel that have been sprayed heavily with water. They still weren't damp enough, so this is what worked best for me. But if you've tried this technique before and have had success, let me know how you added the water to your stamps. I'd be curious to know how others have done it. So I'm speeding this up, and I wanted to show you the whole process on hyperspeed just so you can see how I'm twisting and turning the stamps. Typically when I random stamp, I will do like triangles of the stamps and do all of one stamp first and the biggest stamp and then the next biggest and go around the whole panel. But I wanted these to be close together, so I just went down the panel. Since you're not seeing a lot of definition with the stamps, it doesn't matter if you have some of them are a little closer than others or some of them are repeated more than others. It's totally okay. You're just going for that textured look, and look at how cool it looks. And then I'm picking up some of that extra water and splashing it onto my panel to give splatters, because you know I can't have a project without splatters, and we're going to add even more. But look at how cool that looks. It's not a lot of definition, but it's just enough to give some really cool texture. So now I've got it back on my layout, and I decided I wanted it a little narrower and not as tall. So I cut it, it was originally 3 inches, and I cut it down to 2.5 inches tall, and then cut about 1.5 inches off the width and dovetailing it, and then that will serve as my anchor. I wish I would have actually only cut about 1 inch off. I wish I would have left it a little bit longer, but that's okay. It ends up working in the end. Then I decided I wanted to have that same dark blue color as my matte, because that really helped my photos pop. The pink just wasn't doing it. It was really washing everything out because of the light pink in the photos, and the hospital setting was just kind of blah. So I really wanted something to make these photos pop and perk them up a bit. And that's what I'm going to do with the flowers that I'm going to add later too. I wanted to make this kind of blah background look a lot nicer. So I keep arranging the photos and messing with them before I'm going to add my stamped pieces in. So the second way I'm stamping is by just stamping and then die cutting them out to create my own embellishments. And so I've already done that, and then I'm going to color them on here for you, and I'm going to do that just really quickly with a blending brush. I have Ballerina ink, and it's very, very light, so I did it very heavy-handed and lots of coats, and then even came in with another darker color. So now this is more coats of the Ballerina, and then I'm going to bring in some Blossom as well, which is a retired color, but you could use any pink here, and just darkening up the center, and I think that really makes a big difference. This is a fun technique I learned from Chelsea in some of her videos, but I was also trying to mimic the look of the In Full Bloom paper collection, which was super popular and is sold out, but these stickers and die cuts that came in the collection were colored like this, sort of just color in the center and left white on the edges, and I thought it was a cool look. So with the stamp set, what's great is you can have that look, but you can make it whatever color you want. So I'm using the Bluebell with just a teeny bit of Sapphire for the other color of flowers. And then I'm coming in with Sage to color all the leaves. And I'm going heaviest at the base and then kind of feathering it outward so it's not as heavy on the outside. And for the Sage, I thought I might add another darker green, but I ended up not doing that. It's just the Sage, just one color on these. And I think that those look really fun. So close to my heart is having a sale this month in June on all of the stamp sets. So this stamp set, with or without the dies, is on sale along with hundreds of other sets, and I'll leave a link to the sale down in the description below if you're interested in picking up some stamps or checking out what's on sale. So now I've got all of my florals colored, and it wasn't that easy. I mean, I'm not a big fan of coloring. I'm not very good at it, and I also am not very patient with it. So this is my kind of coloring. It was just really quick and easy and didn't have to worry about shading and coloring. Every now and then, if it's an easy image to color, I like using my tri-blend markers, but this was just way easier for me. So I'm tucking the flowers into those two corners just like I thought I would, and eventually I'm going to add a pink flower in the bottom left as well, but that won't be seen until later on. So when I arrange my flower clusters, I start with the one that I want to be the focus, and that one goes in front, and then I just start layering things behind and then tuck the leaves in. And these were really easy to layer. It was really fun. And so now I'm going to do my third way to use the stamp, and that is to use it as a title. This title happened to be absolutely perfect for these photos. It says "Live Life in Full Bloom," and these photos are in the hospital. My dad was in the hospital over Easter, and he just lives life in full bloom. He lives life to the fullest. You guys might remember a layout I did last year when I went to visit him and my family in San Diego when we found out that he was in remission from colon cancer. Well, he is still in remission, but they have since moved to Colorado, about just under 2 hours from me, and he had a stroke, and it turned out the stroke was caused by a brain tumor. His colon cancer, which is so rare, spread to his brain, but he had it removed and he's doing fine, thank goodness. And thank goodness he's okay after the stroke, and that is what caused them to find the brain tumor. We're so lucky. But he was in rehab in these photos and was able to come home just a couple days later. So I just showed you that I added some splatters to the background in Sapphire to tie everything together. I was really silly and didn't cover my photos. I got a bunch of them on my photos and I reprinted them. And now this is the clear shimmer brush, and I'm adding some more sparkle and shine to the center of the flowers. It's really hard to tell, and I was trying to catch it here and really didn't. But believe me, it's so pretty. Those shimmer brushes are amazing. So I added some glitter gems sort of tucked here and there. The bigger glitter gems, a little tip is I like to kind of tuck them under flowers sometimes, especially the bigger ones. And some of these flowers are on thin 3D foam, so that worked nicely. I also added some butterflies and colored them in the same way as the flowers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more scrapbook inspiration. Julie also posted her video today. You can catch it right here on the left, along with the rest of the creative design team. Have a great day.